Hello, this is Kuma Bwenze from Bokanazambi, God's Universal Village in Gabon, and presently in Costa Rica, here at our outreach from Mbokanazambe, the village, to the west, Ikara. So today, I'd like to talk about some things that are not known in the Western world to do with the processes of antiquity, which is the original cult initiatives of Babongo Bweti and Ombudi, which is the female derivative of these two initiatic processes, and the adaptation of Iboga according to these notions of antiquity. So what I see continuously with the Western world is a lack of education and a furtherance of true knowledge to do with Iboga and its process. So what I mean by that is many people find themselves arriving at Iboga for an initial reason. Of course, we must have one. There's one thing that drives a propensity for us to arrive with that. So normally that could be an addiction, or it could be just a general exploration of self, but there is a propensity or something compelling the individual to come. But that's as far as it goes. So there's not an actual understanding once they arrive in the modern West, outside of the true traditional practices. None of these places actually are trained enough or truly have earned a position within Bwiti or Ombudi initiative to actually coach an individual towards what Iboga is truly asking of us. So what is it asking of us? Well, certainly, as I've just highlighted, you've been driven to Iboga, but that's not a conclusion. It's an ongoing transformative approach to the experience that is you, in your sovereignty, in your individuality. So it is an unfurling of personality, or a removal of the collective personalities that are imposed upon you and accepted by you through lack of attention and awareness. Now, the removal of these things reveals the complete blank canvas that is the individual. Now, if anyone could imagine quickly having no thought at all, nothing, what is there? Now, one thing I can say, and I see it with patients here, and I saw it with myself a long time ago, is fear overcomes an individual at that point, because they're scared that nothing exists and that their identity is nothing. But on the contrary, the quietness is the only position from which we can understand Zambe Kana, God, at all. For in the world of thought, of which is compelling us, just like the person being compelled to arrive at Iboga, thought arrived them here. Now, when there isn't any thought, there isn't anything required at all from you. That's the point, the inception of the beginning and the ending of time, and the understanding of the true teachings of Iboga and Bwiti. For this is a process of antiquity, as I've said. The ancients' minds are not of our mind. Our mind is completely confused and lost within its own machinations of thought, of being compelled, of making things up. I need to do this because something might happen. I should do this because that will make me better. All of that is an illusion. All of it. All of it. Now, it's necessary for me to be succinct in these cases, because we could go on and on and on about this, and I could give a million examples and go further into this so people start to understand. But I implore people to ask their own questions prompted by me sharing something. So remember that an individual such as myself, Kuma, in a true practice of Bwiti, and my wife, Manga, it is impossible for us to stand in front of anybody at all without walking the talk. We can see from the world of non-thought those thinking, but the thinkers cannot see the ones that do not. That are highly important points there. And I'd like to read a transcript from the village from one of my dear brothers, Voko Navoko. And from this I'm going to further what we're discussing right now. So, life in Zambe with Iboga is not told nor imitated. It is a personal and intrinsic experience with self that is done by the exaltation of the soul that recognizes in him its creator and master. Through meditation, song and dance, in our cult initiatives of Bwiti and Ombudi, raising us to the fullness in Zambe Kana, God. Why I read this? If you highlight this verse in the beginning, that it is a personal and intrinsic experience with self that is done by the exaltation of the soul, and that soul recognizes. So, what this means, and these hints, and these people which are my brothers and sisters, Mboka and Zambe, remember they live in this antiquity. They don't use modern implementation. They are following esoteric science that derives itself in pre-dynastic Egypt through to the Bwiti cults, who are still in the Babongo form of Bwiti, still promoting the true teaching. Now the teaching is complete understanding and realization that only we can find out. So for us to really grasp the process of Iboga, this is what I'm saying, and to really come somewhere, number one, we have to arrive somewhere that actually knows what we're saying. So clearly that I am outlining this, which means we know. The Ganga must be completely free of material drive, compulsion, envy, greed, ambition, jealousy, guilt. Now I stand before you completely free of all such notions. And that might be hard for people to grasp. But I cannot be in a position of true Gangana Somba. I cannot be in this position healing anyone or be involved with anyone's healing journey if I am living in the world of illusory rumination. The patient comes in with those ailments, and there must be someone who can see on their behalf. And the person that sees understands that the individual is sovereign and that they must not be influenced in any authoritarian way at all. They must be encouraged to find what Iboga is asking. Iboga only has one direction. As I started this, it doesn't have a conclusion. It doesn't allow you to go home and be finished. If that's what people think, they shouldn't come. It opens the doorway for your constant work towards the direction. And once that doorway is open, it's going towards complete silence and freedom. Can we do that? Because this is what it wants. We're not going to see this type of education direction to do with Iboga or Bwiti at all in the West. You will not. It is very easy for us to look at all of the places, and I encourage all people to do this, and see the people offering you these things. Have a look at that. Not one is walking what they talk completely. They're throwing ideas at you to promote through an effort of selling, and that's a number one complete disposal of dedication and devotion to God and Bwiti. It's actually a complete antithetical approach to what Bwiti is offering and Iboga, and it instantly disqualifies that person from having any authority from a true village. You'd be disqualified from having any authority upon the spiritualism that is Bwiti. The person must be free and healed. They must not be defining, judging, or evaluating Iboga, or promoting Iboga in a defined manner. The moment we define Iboga, we lose the fact that it is us. Iboga is an acceleration of the self by the merging of the soul, which promotes the individual's ability to see the truth. If we're asking or telling ourselves and others that Iboga is doing this and it does this and it does that, we're instantly severing the fact. We're severing ourselves from the fact. The fact is that it's you. And now all of a sudden it's not, and you're expecting it to do something, and when you merge with it, it doesn't do it. And then you're confused, and you don't learn anything. This is not being shown to you in the West, and it never will be, because the people that are offering it to you have nothing to do with Bwiti. These people practice severed forms of the cold initiative, like Asengidya and Gondena de Puma, Gondena de Basuka, which are fetishism and objectivism based. They do not promote, and they have lost all the ability to promote, the truth. The Bonga Bwiti still contains the angelic force of the forest and of the waters. Everything is masculine and feminine unity. And this allows the individual to be held and contained and nurtured in sovereignty in self, so they can then get used to the fact that they are creating what they're doing, and the mind will quieten down. So we want individuals, if you really want to understand Iboga, I encourage people, as an education perspective, we do not sell Iboga here. It's a sacrament, it should never be sold, and you can't buy an initiation. I've said this many times in my talks, and people that follow me will understand what I'm talking about. I'm saying that there's nothing in the West that is promoting the true directions of Bwiti outside of Bokan and Zambi. And that's a sad reality. That's something that we'd like to see altered. Except the money is in the way of these people. There's an agenda. They require you to be there, right? So the corrupted relationship begins. And that is antithetical to what Iboga's teaching, you see. If you've got someone you're looking towards as the authority, you've instantly lost and are squandering the electrical energy, which is the connection to God and the realization of sovereignty. You're squandering that energy. You're not seeing yourself. It's about seeing yourself. So I'm there for whatever people want. They might be going this way, that way. They might be going, I'm there as a missionary to Bwiti, primarily. I make these transmissions to offer the true knowledge of, we deconstruct this knowledge from the African psychology down to the Western mind. And that is completely necessary in today's age. If we have a look at our behaviors, killing one another, living in sorrow, yelling at governments, that is all an illusion. We come to Iboga to scrap the illusion, to see the truth, that there is nothing outside of your thinking. And when the thinking stops, you see with clarity that you are the things, and you're nominating and defining the things, and therefore separating the things from you, yourself. You can't come to Iboga like that and expect Iboga to wipe all that away. Iboga needs you to start being brave and strip back until you don't have anything, until you're a completely blank canvas, and then learn to sit in that quietness, because that's what's going to save you and exalt you into the position of the soul, from which you can see that you are the creation that you see around you, that you are the electrical connection to everything, that we are all one another in one mind, because the collective mind can be felt by people like me in the deep work with Iboga. And I feel it's nonsense. It's confusion. It's viciousness. It's cruelty. Watch the cruelty of your mind, everybody. Watch it. Even the most nice people that come here, they're cruel. You've been controlled and institutionalized. And things have been imparted to you that create cruelty. Cruelty happens, for example, in the most subtle ways. Say you're a parent of a child and the next door neighbor's child. Your child is all of a sudden threatened, you attack that other child. Or you say that child's bad. That's cruelty. You have no right to define anyone. Nothing. Iboga is there to strip back all of that so we can live in harmony with one another. You cannot realize harmony when you're divided from another. This is about non-division. Now, if you're looking around at Iboga and someone is not talking about non-division, and if they do after this, it's because they've been in a plagiarized position or forced into it so they can sell Iboga. You look around. If that's not happening, they don't understand Iboga, which means the individual giving it to you is not going to be able to impart through energy, now I'm talking about, not through what he's talking about, the correct results with Iboga. When you enter Mbokana Zambe, under His Majesty King Adamangana, king of the primates, the Bobongo First Nations people of Gabon, and his children, which are me, Kumabwenze and Manga, here in the West. You enter that environment. We are the last bastion when it comes to imparting through our energetics the true knowledge of stillness. Unlike anywhere in the West, anywhere in the world. So that's not a promotion of sales, that's a promotion of appeal, because an individual might listen to this and say, okay, that's for me. We must put that there as missionaries in this tradition. Our ethos is brotherhood of man. What does that mean? That means the realization that we are one another. That all of our ancestry derives from Africa. White, black, red. The first carbon chain, carbon. In energetics and matter right now, happening constantly, simultaneously. We are all of the one substance, but we continually create illusory factions between ourselves. Now, unless we start to hear something different and we're inspired by perhaps something that I'm saying when we come to Iboga, we're not going to actually achieve what Iboga wants. That's why I'm really desperate in a lot of ways to actually make sure I want to maximize brotherhood of man. I want an individual who's coming this way to really grasp that. And that's what we get when people do come. They just don't go away. We treat lots of people here that have had Iboga many times. None of them have experienced it like this until they have it here. And then they go home and really hit the nail on the head. And that's inspiring for me, and that's why I'm here. We need to wake up and turn our backs on those that enslave you. You let them enslave you every day. We need to turn away. And in particular, coming to Iboga, we need to turn away if we want to grasp what's going on. So I hope this little talk here, which is completely off the cuff as it always is, I hope that it inspires someone in any direction. Inspires them to look towards themselves, to look for that love. Love doesn't reside in separation. Loving someone because they're good at washing the dishes is not love, that's a division. Loving someone because you're letting them do the dishes without judging or evaluating, that's called love. Let's learn to leave things alone, including your illusory enslavers. And may God, Zambe Kana, shed his light upon all today and all remaining on the earth. May we all seek out that one realization of God himself through approaching stillness and use some beautiful tools left behind from antiquity, from our ancestors of Bwiti, Bobongo Bwiti, and the use and adaptation of Iboga.